Hello and welcome back to Naas and on the other hand, Deon Anderson. Morning, Deon.
Morning, Naas.
Okay, we had a little bit of an interesting weekend. We had World Cup semi-finals for the ladies. Then, of course, we had the Currie Cup final. We have to talk about that one. We've had the announcement of the Springbok squad. And then maybe one or two surprises in the Pacific results. But before we go, we have to apologize for last week. Sound. It was a little bit of a problem. We tried to fix it, but me and IT is not that strong. Dion is actually the IT guy, but we did struggle a little bit. And then a lot of questions. Where did we get the jerseys? And that we got from Chucky van der Merwe with Vintage. That's his brand. So we're supporting his brand, ex-player. That's why we're doing it. But Dion, apart from all the apologies, let's rather get to proper business. Let's firstly concentrate on the Currie Cup. Your impression about yesterday's final?
I think last week when you asked me if the Griquas would have a chance, I said there's always a chance, but I didn't see that result coming, seeing that the Lions did play the URC team. But what a performance, what a statement. I have to say I'm very happy for them. I think they slipped up a couple of years ago when they played the Pumas at home, and I think they felt that they should have won that one. So for them winning yesterday, I think it's a great statement, and I'm very happy for them as a union.
But the thing that I loved, I don't know if you noticed on their jersey, that the Currie Cup in the 3 years that they actually won it. Now it's 4. But let's talk about the game because that's what we're trying to analyze. There are so many times on the 15th minute, they decided not to kick that goal. On the 20th minute, the Lions got a penalty. They kick that goal. Now, we had numerous discussions about when do you take points? When do you go for touch? Okay. You are busy with the under 90s, under 21s. They all have the same problem. The ladies, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But in general, do you think we're playing enough time? Or I mean time, 2 minutes before half time, you get a penalty. Do you go for touch? Do you go for the 3 points? Or do you think it's a little bit of everybody's just doing it, so let's just do it?
So I think there's a misconception. I think people don't realize that scoreboard pressure is something.
Yeah.
And you can create that with penalties. And I said to someone yesterday as well, if you're not getting over the gain line and you're never getting close to the opposition's goal line, why not take 40, 50 meter penalty kicks?
Yeah.
I mean, 2 penalties is better than 1 try. So, I personally feel that teams should take their goal kicking more serious, especially in those situations.
Okay, but being involved with teams at the moment, why is it a struggle? Because my opinion is, I feel we do too often what other people do instead of do you only. And you being involved with teams, don't you think we just follow what everybody is doing?
No, maybe, but I think one of the biggest issues at the moment is the kickoffs. So you rather want to go for the 7 points, hopefully get the restart, apart from 3 points and then lose the ball again. Because like we saw yesterday once again, and it's been a problem now for a lot of teams all over the world, from junior level till senior level, that they can't retain their kickoffs. And that's a massive, massive problem at the moment.
You know what I thought yesterday? And hopefully the camera connection show it, okay? I think too often, and I've seen it yesterday, too often the guy that's receiving the ball or trying to catch the ball Let's put it that way. Hands are actually quite low. Okay. So that means if you, as an opposition player, come and you jump and you put your hand up in the air, you're going to out jump. Okay. That I picked up yesterday. Because if you take the try the line score, the Greek player went up like this. Where I think we need to have a little bit of a basketball attitude. Get your hands up in the air. Hopefully we can see it. Okay, up in the air. Catch the ball there. Because if you can just relate to this, you standing and you jumping. It's like a liner. And you've got your hands in the air. Straight arms, hands in the air. I'm coming towards you and I'm jumping. I can never jump higher than what you can actually do standing and going up with support because you've got support. Okay. Do you think I'm making sense here?
Yeah. Yeah. Once again, I don't know why it's been a struggle for the teams. I don't know if it's a misconception of depth or that they're struggling to follow the ball. But yeah, obviously the pressure is more than it was a couple of years ago. But still, you'd expect someone to be able to catch a ball from on that level.
Yeah, because we even struggled at school level to get, I want to say, your better catches into a position. And the other thing that I've also noticed is that we don't follow the ball where the ball goes. If the ball goes a little like 5 meters away from me, I think somebody else should actually catch it instead of start actually following the ball. That was the one sort of area, first base, that, as you mentioned on a number of occasions, a lot of teams don't actually master. The other thing that stood out for me yesterday was, let's say, between the two goal lines, falling over the ball is getting penalized quite a bit. As soon as you get closer to, let's say, the goal line, then falling over is suddenly not part of the game anymore. It's not getting penalized. So again, we keep on talking about laws and we're talking about this. And I feel for the coaches and I feel for the player because bridging, falling over, what's the difference? But do you also get a vibe there's more penalties between the two goal lines as on the goal line?
No, for sure. And that's where the inconsistencies comes in every week. And I think it's a coach killer because today you're getting blown for this, next week you don't. So you're unsure. But that's something that the refs definitely needs to look at to be more consistent in that case because you're creating uncertainty.
Because now I want to, let's stick to the Currie Cup, okay? I'm going to say one name, okay? We were fortunate, we both played Flyhalf, okay? George Whitehead. For a couple of years, I had an idea. Somebody else have to look at this guy. This guy has got quality. He's one of the few guys that can actually still play a tactical game. Seriously. He reads the game nicely. And yesterday, his goal kicking, immaculate.
No, it was immense. And I think it was nice to see that they actually used him to take the exits. I don't know if you guys realized, but for a change, they passed the ball to him inside the 22.
Yeah.
And he kicked the ball 40, 50 meters downfield that we haven't seen from the nines. So that was something that I picked up and it was great to see. But like you say, tactical, he was amazing. I think his experience pulled through. And once again, if you have a quality fly off, you're going to win big games.
Do you think he's a little bit underrated in South Africa?
No, definitely. I don't think he's the flashy player, but he does the basics well. And like you said, his tactical kicking is amazing. But he's been consistent for a couple of years now.
Yeah, for a number.
And I think that's the word, consistency. I'd rather have a fly-off or a leader that's consistent than you don't know what you expect. Because on the one weekend, someone will be on fire. The next weekend, he's having a shocker. So, yeah, well done to George and his team. And yeah, he's been a big part for the Griquas the last 3 years.
Yeah, we all know it's a team sport. We all know that, okay? But he did an exceptional job yesterday. Then it brings me back to where we started about 10 minutes ago. Why did Griquas opted quite often for the touch? Yes, they did score one good one, okay? Even 5-meter penalties, they didn't opt for going for 3 points. They did score one try from that also, but that was brilliant play by the number 6, I think. Yeah, if I'm correct. But if you have a guy like George, why did in your team? Why don't you just go for more points? Make it more difficult for the opposition.
No, for sure. I think there was one instance that they kicked for the touchline and there was like 30 minutes left. And then George went for the drop goal a few minutes later. So that actually said they could have gone for the 3 points from the beginning and they would have been behind 2 points because leading up to that, with all that penalties that they had, then they could have gone for the lead if they had to kick a goal again.
Yeah.
But then they were forced to actually go for the try because I think there was like 8 minutes left. And then I think they just wanted to get ahead and maybe just put the game away.
Okay. Big question. Lions get the penalty?
Yeah. No, I think it was definitely a penalty. Cynical play. I think in that moment, your discipline needs to be on another level. And yeah, it's 2 years in a row that the Lions have cost themselves the game.
Yeah. Well, it was unfortunate. You're never going to blame a player because at that moment, there's so many things going through your mind that you're just trying to stop the ball. That's what you're trying to do, either the player or the ball. So I feel for Delpo. But unfortunately, things like that happen. And then, the turnaround or turnover penalty cost him the Currie Cup. So, but at least it was a nice one for Griquas. Okay, let's go a little bit more to the ladies' World Cup semi-final. Canada, New Zealand. I actually watched Sky New Zealand and they were not overconfident, but I don't think that they even thought of, even Canada is ranked second and they third. I don't think they thought of losing that one.
Yeah, no, that was quite a surprise. And it was actually a convincing win for the Canadians. And they actually played very well. But yeah, it was quite a surprise. And I don't think that the Ferns expected that.
Did you also get a feel, and that's the first time South Africa's second half against New Zealand was absolutely fantastic, 40 minutes. I must say, it's the first time I actually saw a team for 80 minutes gave you everything now they had for 80 minutes. We coach and we talk and we keep telling players, give it your all. And then after 70 minutes, they walk off and you think, what? They did nothing. And here was a team, Canada. Seriously, I thought for 80 minutes, they just gave everything they could to get that win. And that's why that was not a surprise for us, but I think a big surprise for New Zealand, especially after losing to South Africa. And did you notice something about the score? Did you know something about the score? South Africa 43, 4-3 played a role. Canada 34, 4-3, 3-4 played a role.
It hasn't been two good wickets for New Zealand rugby.
No, absolutely not. Okay, England, the favourites.
Quality. I think that fullback, we had a discussion before the World Cup and you mentioned that the number 15 is someone to look at. And I think last night she proved that she was amazing.
Yeah. I know, I think her name is, okay, I'm not going to try. I listened yesterday to the commentary and I think I figured out how do you actually pronounce it, but okay, let's just leave it there. But what a game. And what I appreciated from France is that they never stood back Never. They actually kept him playing also for 80 minutes. And that's things that we don't actually see sometimes with guys play.
Now, the skill level yesterday was incredible especially for ladies, and the tries that both teams scored was very good. And France, they were in the game with 25 minutes to go, and England was just too good, and I think they've won 33 games in a row now. So
That's unbelievable.
yeah, that's quite some record, and they have to be the favourites, especially playing at home. But I think playing Canada 1 and 2 in the world is going to be amazing fun.
That's amazing that they actually got a tournament worked out. One is playing two. Tennis is trying it. Whoever is trying it, they never get that right, if I can put it that way. The ladies get it right. But I want to take you to the Springbok squad announcement. What do you think about the Springbok squad announcement? Any surprises? Not really?
No surprises there. It's just Fussy that's out. Willie obviously out. But yeah, it's going to be interesting who Ricey picks next weekend, because I think Damian Willemse might move back to fullback, especially with Fussy that's out and Willie that's not in the squad anymore. And maybe bring the Alinde in. And then the question is, will he bring Jesse back? Will he back Kanan again on 13? I know Currie Cup is almost back in the mix, but he'll probably only go with him on the end of year tour, because that is also going to create interesting decisions at the back three, what Rossi is going to do there.
Looking game plan, do you think is going to change a little bit? Because I think we're a little bit on a roll. As we mentioned, we can play a game, we can play a B game. Okay. Do you think he's going to opt for, let's say, a variety of A plus a B game, or are we going to have a little bit of the same mentality and build on what we've actually established against New Zealand in 40 minutes?
Yeah, I think he got a lot of answers against New Zealand, and I think a lot of us was quite surprised by what we did. And I'll see. We'll probably find a mix in between, because I think Argentina is definitely going to be much more physical than New Zealand.
Yeah.
Their pack is unbelievable. And like we mentioned, their backline is so skillful, and they're also playing very good rugby. So I expect a massive test match on the weekend. All four teams still in the mix. But they're going to be much better than New Zealand up front. That I can promise you.
Okay, but there's still a question about Argentina. When you talk about Argentina, you're talking discipline.
Yeah.
Okay. And people think when we talk discipline, we're talking punching. That's not what we're talking about. Discipline means you scrum well, you win your lineouts, you don't give away silly penalties. Okay. As we saw in the Currie Cup, the last seconds. Okay. So there's a lot of things that comes with Argentina, with the great player. Do you also have an idea that they are much better than a couple of years ago, discipline-wise?
I think Contepomi has made that change. And I know he's very strict on discipline. And you can see it within the squad as well. Also the style that they're playing. But you can never write the Argentinians off. And I think it's going to be a massive test match.
Okay, and then we're going to finish off two games that surprised me a little bit. Not really, but a little bit, because I see Fiji beat Japan. And Japan had a great win a couple of weeks ago. Absolute great win. But you think that's a little bit, one that Eddie Jones is not going to enjoy?
Yeah, for sure, because I know it wasn't it wasn't their best team playing.
Oh.
There was a couple of players missing there.
Yeah.
That's playing, because the top 14 has started again. So there's, I think, 5 or 6 guys that weren't there. And you feel that's test matches that Japan should win. And I don't know if Japan is really moving in the right direction if we take them where they were in their own World Cup.
Yeah.
You would expect them to beat these kind of teams, for them to be competitive, playing tier 1 nations. But yeah, I think it's a bad loss for Eddie and them. And yeah, the scoreboard was actually much closer because Fiji were, I think, 33-10 ahead at some stage.
Okay, and then the other game, Tonga beating Canada. Now, somewhere in the Americas, they need to be a little bit worried because America Eagles, they are playing. They did get a win the other day, but they're not really that dominant. Canada beat America, getting beaten by Tonga. Now, I'm not saying Tonga is not good, but Tonga in the Pacific Championship didn't play well at all. And suddenly they beat them 35-24. Now, in an international score, that's quite a big score.
Yeah, it is. And exactly the same there as well. Also not their best players playing. So that's worrying signs for teams like Canada.
Okay, that is Deon and myself on what happened on the weekend. Next week, as you all know, the URC is starting. And then, of course, we've got the ladies' final and we've got England playing Canada. And if there is a team that proved that they can play for 80 minutes, that is Canada. But you mentioned it earlier. What's it now? 30?
I think 33.
33. What's the men's one?
I think 18 or 19.
No, the Boks were on 18, 90. Didn't New Zealand break it to 21?
So I'm not sure. But yeah, it could be. But I think it's about 19 or 18 to
Yeah. Now you can imagine getting in over 30. That means there's something special. Yes, you will say, yeah, but there's less women teams playing. The thing is, you must still go and win. That's the big thing. And I think that's where we have to take hats off for England. And they're going to Twickenham. I believe it's a sellout. It's a sellout.
That's actually one thing. I think the crowd attendances for this World Cup was incredible.
Yeah. But I must say, the rugby in general. Oh, the other thing. Let's finish off with this because it is irritating. Okay? Is that, especially in the women's game, when they're under pressure and they get a turnover, they just kick the ball downfield. Why don't they start trying to kick a little bit more tactical? I think England showed yesterday they wanted to kick a little bit more tactical. Bounce of the ball 3 times actually went against them. Otherwise, it would have been 50-22s. But why do you think we're just kicking the ball downfield? We see it in the men's game and we see it in the women's game now.
Yeah, there was actually a game yesterday where Tasman played Waikato in the NPC. And they went to overtime and they're like American football now. So first team to score, they win the game. So there's no draws in the NPC anymore. But I think there was like 16 kicks in a row because they didn't want to carry the ball.
They don't want to kick it out
either. They want to try and win the penalty, obviously. But it was just lackluster. It was just giving ball possession away and the teams being afraid of making a mistake and conceding a penalty.
What do you think started all this nonsense? Because I've got a nice word, but I'm not going to put it on there, okay? I just call it nonsense because tactical kicking is definitely part of the game. Kicking the ball out at certain times in games are essential. You know, why? Because you can reorganize. You can get your plan together again. By just kicking the ball downfield, and now you must tackle, and you know and I know, with the defensive lines, if you break the line once, there's no cover defense anymore. Why do you think, who started all this nonsense?
No, I think it comes back to the laws again. Because teams don't want to concede penalties. So, and you don't know, exactly like you said earlier, you don't know what's going to get blown. So rather kick the ball away, go and force an error in the opposition's half.
Okay.
And see if you can maybe win a penalty for yourself.
Okay. Now, if you've got any questions, you're more than welcome. And we do apologize for last week's sound. Hopefully this week it is sorted.